Good morning. What's going on, everybody? Kevin Walsh from Ninja Holistic Health and Fitness. Welcome back to Graceful Aging for Baby Boomers, this month's video series. So we're on episode 4 right now, which is the action plan. And as usual, I'm going to put kind of a bunch of things together that we've gone over the past 3 weeks into a practical template that you can use day to day in your everyday life. And before I get to that, I want to highlight one quick thing. The aging process, just to clarify, it's a very natural part of life. So when we're aging, we can look around at the rest of nature, at the trees, birds, animals, the different plant foods that we eat, and these things all go through the same exact cyclical process, which I always talk to my clients about, which is a very universal principle of cycles, timing, and patterns. The cycle of life is things are always freshest and in their infantile stage in the beginning, and then they go through a process of maturation where they're at their strongest or their peak. And at some point, there's kind of a bell curve where things go in the opposite direction and they go south. You can look in your refrigerator and even just see this with foods that you cook, right? There's a process, there's a time to eat things, and then eventually they'll go bad, they grow mold, etc. Animals get old no differently than we do, and they go through this exact same process. And the reason that I point this out, besides the fact that it's obvious in and of itself, is that a lot of people, I think, get afraid of the aging process, thinking that there's something wrong with them, which is definitely not the case. We're all going to end up in the same box, 6 feet under, with dirt on it, and we're not going to look anywhere as good then than we did during our prime. So with that said, it's a natural part of the process of life itself. And a few things that you can do, though, to buffer the effects of speeding up the aging process, we'll go over in a minute. One of the things that's really important to understand, though, is that the way that you secrete your stress hormones through the duration of your life dictates how fast the process of aging is sped up. So cortisol is one of your primary stress hormones, and this is something that basically gives us a fight or flight response. And if we're in a chronic state of tension or a chronic state of fear or some kind of a negative emotional response to situations, this is always being secreted through our system, and there's only so much that we can handle before the body starts to break down. And if you do this over and over and over again over the course of months and years, it becomes very cumulative, and the body will break down over that time period faster than it would have normally. So this, along with also our lifestyle, what we eat, and the environmental exposures that we have to toxins, are going to also amplify that as well. So these are a few things right here anyway that are going to kind of buffer the effects of it and help to keep some of that at bay so that you can live as healthfully as possible as you go through the aging process and be a little younger than you would have otherwise as a result. So this is right here a daily checklist of 4 quick things, brief things that you can do through every single day. Try to check off the box, so to speak, every single day, and if you do these things, I mean, you'll have for sure a much longer period before you go down kind of south on that bell curve. So the first thing, drink half your body weight in ounces of water every day. So if you're 180 pounds, that'd be about 90 ounces of water per day, or roughly 3 liters of water. And when you're exercising, you want more water. Your body's going to be in more of a need. And also in hot, dry climates, like right now that we're in the summertime. In the wintertime, it does change. You don't have as high a water intake. So just listen to your body and kind of use this as a baseline, half your body weight in ounces per day. The second thing is to take 10 slow breaths when you first wake up in the morning. So when you get out of bed, before you rush around and you start running from task to task, just sit in bed the moment your eyes wake up open, and just take 10 slow, deep inhales and exhales like that. It takes literally about a minute, minute and a half. Doesn't take a lot of time, and it's a great way to just start the day so you don't have that automatic cortisol response coming out of the gate. Third thing, try to get 20 to 30 minutes of exercise per day, preferably something sweaty, right? But it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. Even if you just walk, just getting a brisk walk in for a good 20-30 minute period is enough on a daily basis. During the course of the week, you do want to have at least 1, ideally 2 or more days where you have exercise where it's vigorous, where you're breaking a sweat, your heart rate is up, and you have a tough time passing what's called the talk test, which is where you try to say your name or just say a few words, but you can't quite do it because your heart rate is so elevated and your breathing is so much heavier. And then the last thing is try to get to bed by 10:30 p.m. So keep in line with the sun and the moon cycles. When the moon is up and it's time to go to bed, you definitely want to get into bed as early as possible, rather than staying up to like midnight and kind of throwing off the rhythms of that. All right, and then over here is the weekly checklist. So take a cold shower at least once a week, especially now in the summertime. This is a huge one. If you can get yourself to take a cold shower, the benefits of the inflammation reduction that you get and stimulating your autonomic functions are huge, and not only give you a nice appearance and a skin glow, but they're going to help you to have maintenance of those autonomic functions that run on their own through your body over the course of your lifetime. When we don't get enough cold water exposure, we actually do have a detriment to the body, because it's something that we're supposed to be exposed to, but often we kind of shelter ourselves by having temperature controlled rooms, hot showers all the time, etc. The more of that we get in, the better. And this is also one of the reasons why our digestion is usually so offset, and we have a lot of problems with pain syndromes and things like that, just from being overly exposed to the fire principle and not enough of cooling down the body and allowing it to regenerate. The second thing is sit in a sauna for 15 minutes. So the reason that the sauna is so good is because, in opposition to the cold shower, right, or the cold principle, when you take a sauna session, your body expels and detoxifies all kinds of different stuff through the skin. So when you sweat, things come out, from different glands. They're mobilized, and the body is able to sort of jettison it as a result of the exposure to that extreme heat. So if you can get to a sauna, or you have a gym that you can utilize, definitely do that a couple times a week, at least once, just to kind of check off the box. Third one, rub coconut oil on the face and on the body. So just rubbing coconut oil, like I mentioned in the last video, on the body is a great way to keep the integrity of your integumentary system over time. So if you get real dry, kind of wrinkled skin, this is a really great antidote to that. And the last thing is drink 1 cup of bone broth. I would say to drink it every single day, because you lose collagen every single day, year over year. But if you can get it in at least once a week, it's better than zero. So try to get it in once a week. Grass-fed or pasture-raised bone broth that you can get from preferably a jar, and frozen or refrigerated from the store, as opposed to on the store shelf. You don't want the store shelf stuff. It's kind of like, like low grade and not really ideally what you're looking for at all, for a number of different reasons. I'm not going to get into, but anyway, drink bone broth. Get it frozen. There's a great place if you live in this area in Mercer County called Brick Farm Market, and they have really high quality bone broth that you can get frozen. So with that said, I'm going to leave a PDF of all the things that are on here, so you can see right here. And this is going to have basically, it's just a quick printout. You can look at all the daily checklist marks, and I put 7 boxes right there so that you can check them off kind of day by day, and then see by the end of the week how you're doing. And then over here is the weekly checklist, and obviously you only have to mark that off once, because you're doing that 1 time per week, more times for bonus points, and that will wrap it up and do it. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that was helpful for you and gave you a little insight into what the aging process is all about, and how you can kind of buffer the effects of accelerated aging. So with that said, going into next month, we're going to go into permanent weight loss secrets, which is going to be really, really helpful, I think, for a lot of people that are looking to do that and struggling along the way. So with that said, thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll catch you soon. Take care.